Yeah, Spike is a legend. He's been around fighting for rights and all types of things for I'd imagine probably before me, so probably during the late '60s or something like that.
Yeah.
The real deal. Well, I think it's a place that you can go to rehearse once you found out that you have some talent and you got a your instrument, you know. So that keeps you off the street, and so just that alone, you know, excites you as a kid. You know, wow, I can go to this place and you know they don't care how loud we're playing or it's free, electricity, so. And the times were turbulent more then, so it was tight. I mean, I got saved from being young and going to. I went to the sister of the Way, what was called Inner City Youth League, which was in St. Paul.
Yeah.
So that and the Way were sisters, so to speak. So they were both places that the young people went to. So, but the Minneapolis, the Way was a little more rougher. It was a little more, they were, so.
Turbulent.
Yeah, very turbulent. It was, but, look who came out of it, a lot of guys, Jimmy, Terry Lewis, Morris, all those guys.
Andre.
Yes, there's Sonny Thompson.
Sonny T.
Yeah,
Dale Alexander.
Yeah.
Damn right. Damn right.
Yeah, I mean, I did, man, and the group 94 East and all that. So the Way was really a very important place, I mean, it was a place where kids can find out that discover their talent, even if it was basketball or science or whatever it was. It was just a place that you can find out, slow down and get out the streets playing, because you are young and you got the energy and stuff. And I think it's a lot. I'm glad I grew up then now instead of being in front of a computer and not going outside and stuff like these guys are now. So I mean, but it was a way to find out if you discover your talent.
So did you go after school like every day, or?
I would go after school, and they had, what was great at that time, they had music in the schools, so you could get it, instrument. My sixth grade teacher was this guy who graduated, kind of like a hippie guy, and he was, blonde hair and everything, and he found out I wanted to play the drums, and he came in next day and brought me a snare drum in a case and everything. That changed my whole life, just, so it was just little things that happened that, he probably never knew, I'm gonna give this kid a drum, but that was huge. When you're 14 and 15, nobody's telling you that an instrument is hard. So you don't really know. So you practice a whole long time, jamming and stuff. You take a break, and then somebody just might sit down on the drums, and he might, or somebody else get on the guitar or something, So it was real simple stuff. But I had no idea that he was, that he had all that in it. We would go to the studio at 14 years old. The Scouts were in town and stuff. And that group 94 East. And which was before everything, even before Funky Town's Cynthia Johnson, she's a good friend, Cynthia Johnson. But he would always stay inside, and see what the engineer was doing and all that stuff. I'd be like, man, as soon as they cut this track, I'm outside, dude. I ain't got time to look what this dude is. I didn't have nothing to, but he would go in there and do it. And so one time he came to my mom's house, because we used to rehearse in my mom's basement, me, him, and Andre Simone, he's changed his last name, it was Andre Anderson. And Morris Day, they were all in a group, Grand Central. And he brought this, hey man, Dale, you gotta listen to it. I think it was on a cassette. And it was him just playing everything, So that was, I didn't know about that, that was because he was excited. Hey man, let me check this out,
Wow.
And I was like, man, that's getting them scouts there. Now you cutting us out the picture. They just said we ain't got, he said, wow, he's like Stevie Wonder, So I mean, he did. He had had a lot of music in him, man. I didn't know it. Sonny Thompson is the Spike could tell you. Sonny's the teacher, man.
Had Stevie Wonder done that? His own album where he played everything?
Yeah. But, well, let me see. 70.
Talking book.
7. I know he had done something where he did everything. First.
Yeah.
I knew that, and then they found out, well, Prince was doing that, and yeah, that's
Wow.
yeah. He was. I had no idea that dude had so much, really. I taught him some stuff on drums. He would come over and ask.
Oh, so it's all due to you.
Yeah, I gotta take my credit, man. I'm taking that credit. I mean, he called me for the Sign of the Times tour, man, just at the last minute, and I'm like, he's like, well, I got Sheila E. playing drums. I'm like, dude, how you gonna be throwing me up against her? Like, oh, this is my boy. I grew up with him, and she got 2 bass drums and all these tom-toms. She's used to playing timbales and stuff, all this technique and stuff. But I was in the Billy Cobham at the time, so that kind of saved me. Miles Davis used to come to our rehearsal, Miles Davis show up, and Paisley Park wasn't done yet, so we were practicing in Prairie at this huge place. And then...
Did Miles live near there?
No, he came in. He just came in. They were, a matter of fact, the group that I played with, Madhouse, was a brainstorm between Prince and Miles. Prince was trying to do like a jazz group, type of thing. And so he knew that I was a jazz guy, so he called, but it was that part was really cool, seeing him venture that way. He basically used everybody that he grew up with first. I probably would have been it was me and Andre and Prince, the power trio first. When he got signed with Warner Brothers, he had the rehearsal space. But at that time, being a jazz musician, I was a youngster, and I already had like a 5-night-a-week gig at a hotel playing jazz with like a Nat King Cole dude. So I couldn't stay and rehearse with them guys. At about 5 o'clock, I had to split, put on this long tuxedo that covered my arms and stuff, And so I got out, Bobby Z came in after, But it was cool. I wouldn't change anything, so. But yeah, he gave back. I mean, he used everybody. I mean, Sonny, Jesse Johnson wasn't from me. He was from Iowa. We helped talk to him into coming up here, but Morris. I mean, all of these guys are all, he can find in me a bunch of stuff, every details about a lot of stuff, So, but yeah, he's always give back, and he actually used to give anonymously. He did a lot of that, in Chicago, to this ghetto, this place, this, he did a lot of anonymous stuff, and he kind of had a little freedom up in Minnesota, he always have to have one of them big guys with him, but he didn't, feel too unsafe. But he really gave back, man. Yeah. So, and I'll say with Robbie, he really helped me when I first came to town. I was with, I met this guy, Wawa Watson, who was world famous, and he was like, "Oh, Dale, man, Robbie needs a drummer, man. We're gonna go over there."
He just came to town from Minneapolis.
I had just got for Prince tour. I came here, a year or so later. So I'm coming to town, starving musician, that whole thing and stuff. And this guy, and at that time, they had that movie out. Oliver Stone did that Doors movie, remember? Mm-hmm. And so that next day, you had to do the David Letterman show because we only had one night. We were practicing, but so. That there was even, helpful, getting a younger musician when I know that he knows probably hundreds of drummers. You're in LA. I mean, everybody comes here. Yeah. So that's a part of giving, you're trusting in somebody younger, so.
I mean, actually, we were playing more of the Doors music at the time because my son Waylon was in the band, and Barry Oakley Jr. From the Allman Brothers kid was in our band, and you know, I hadn't played the Doors music for years. I'd been playing jazz, right? But we wanted the kids wanted to do some Doors music, and for some reason we ended up with Wah Wah Watson, who's like a Motown guy, to play rhythm, and then he brought Dale in. But then, you know, when we weren't doing gigs, Dale was a great jazz keyboard guy, so he would teach me stuff, and which I still owe him for. You know, I've always practiced what he's taught me. So it kind of all goes around, you know.
Full circle.
Do you know Tony Newton?
Yeah, he played with us on that record. He was. That's who I
Oh, that's
saw
right,
Tony.
we played
That's
with
who I
him.
saw
That's
Tony Williams with when they played Snake Oil and stuff.
Yeah, okay.
I had actually saw him play with Tony
Oh, that's right.
Williams, and then you hired him for the
That's
record
right,
date.
That's right. You played the keyboard on that. Snake Oil.
Awesome.
And then we actually, Robbie wrote some songs, he and I, and then he got nominated for a Grammy and stuff, man. Just so you know.
Brilliant.
But it seemed like you were doing a Sketches of Spain record, like the Miles. Was that your idea?
Yeah, that was that.
Sketches
Because
of
Miles had
Spain.
just passed away, and we wanted to do like a tribute to Miles. So Arthur
Yeah,
Barrow and I, we did a kind of Spanish
Sketches of
flavored thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely
And
fabulous.
that ended up on a record called, what the hell? was
Singular.
it? Singularity.
Singularity.
And then Dale and I had a song on that as
Yeah.
well.
Oh, I'll
So-
check that
Which
out.
I stole
Yeah.
from him.
Awesome.
No, it's-